Welcome to Consacon TV, a law student's take on all things law and therapy. Interested in more content? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy the show. Today we're counting down the top 10 questions asked to law students by prospective law students. So without further ado, we're going to get right to it because we have a lot of ground to cover. Okay, top 10 questions. So coming at you for the number 10 question is pretty basic. What kind of laptop or supplies do I need for law school? So you're definitely going to need a quality computer. When I started law school, I actually had a Google Chromebook, and I kid y'all not, my Google Chromebook, it crashed the first week of classes. It crashed. It literally crashed. So make sure you have a durable computer because you need a lot of memory because you are going to be downloading all of your books because people do not carry physical books anymore. All of your books will be virtual. So number one thing, you're going to need a laptop, and then be prepared to put aside some money for textbooks because textbooks will really run you like $300. They're very, very expensive. And I encourage everybody to keep your doctrinal textbooks. This is my evidence. This is my contract textbook. I don't know my criminal law. I think it's at my office, but I literally refer to those. But all the other ones, take your pick. All right, so moving right along. How hard is the first year? Really? The first year is terrible. I'm not even about to flex or finesse it. It's terrible. Prepare yourself. You're not going to have any life. And if you have a life other than law school, you've done it wrong. So you got to be ready to tap in. And the hardest part is not necessarily the work. I think it's the mental agility and the restructuring of your boundaries. So, yeah, first year is a killer. All right, so coming in at number 8, how do you manage stress and mental health in law school? Oof. Okay, so I had a slight luxury of being a mental health professional before I started law school, but because law school is its own type of stressor, you have to reconfigure what your old coping plan to make sure that it's amenable for the new level of stress you're going to be experiencing. And not to go off in too much of a tangent, what may have worked in the past may not be effective for you anymore. Maybe in the past you got by binge drinking and smoking, and then you quickly realize that that's not efficient for school. So yes, coping strategies. And one of the things that I teach my clients in my professional life is you have to have a premeditated de-stress plan. You cannot wait until everything hits the fan, and because then you're going to be moving off instinct. That you have to have a pre-built contingency plan, and you have to proactively plan for stress, not reactively plan for stress. Ironically, I didn't really start vacationing or practicing self-care until I began law school. But the level of stress that I was experiencing, hello babies, hey, come on, I'm making a video. I'm trying to help the students. The level of stress that I was experiencing, I had to stop. Sorry about that. The level of stress that I was experiencing, I had to step up my de-stress strategy. So for me, that includes, but is not limited to, scheduling regular vacations, making time to make sure I get my hair done, scheduling time to get my nails done, and scheduling time for massages and facials. Okay, listen, your girl works full-time, overtime, and I'm a little bougie, so don't judge me. I had to do what I got to do. The stress be stressing. Okay, so moving right along, is there still a big curve in how does grading actually work? So grades are going to be dependent on the professor. Some professors utilize the curve, some don't. Some professors are more generous with points than others. Some professors will give you extra credit. Some professors will give you nothing. There are going to be classes, if you're used to being a straight A student, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you because there are just going to be certain classes that no matter how well you did, you're not going to walk away with the A. You're going to walk away with the B, right? I think it's methodical. I think that's law school's way of preparing us to know that we're not going to win every trial. Children, hey. Oh my gosh. The feline domestic violence. Stop. Okay. So moving right along. Do you have time for a social life or hobbies? Prospective students want to know if law school means sacrificing all fun. It's the same thing when it comes to your de-stress plan. If you value your hobbies, you build them into your schedule. I'll never forget one of my favorite professors and mentors, Professor Aleka Asamoah, shout out to you. She was adamant on us creating a 24-hour schedule that was fragmented into 30-minute blocks. She was not playing with us. And if you wanted to do it, you had to make sure that you had budgeted and scheduled time for it. For me, the quick answer is no. All of your hobbies become obsolete. Even all those things that I mentioned before, I would be lying if I said that I was able to really appreciate all of those luxuries my first and second year. I just completed my third year for your student evening program. So once you wrap around the loop of your third/fourth year, the things are a little bit easier because you're not taking as many of the heavy doctrinals. You're taking mostly electives, and then your brain has already gotten used to the high quality of production. But yeah, those first 2 years were terrible. Yeah, they were terrible. There was no time for any fun. The answer is no. And then even when you're out, you feel some level of guilt because you're like, man, I'm at this party or this function, but I know that I still don't have that analysis right for contract law. So then you're there and you're feeling guilty. Then you're feeling the anxiety because you're in two places at once. Just go study. Just go study. When it's time for fun, yet the time in your life will come for fun. But when it's time to study, you gotta study. Okay, you're only in law school once, so take advantage of it. Okay, so moving right along. Number 5. What is your daily or weekly schedule like? Whoa. Okay. So I am a non-traditional student because I work full-time for a court in New York City. So for me, my schedule looked like waking up around 6. This is ideal. I'll be lying if I didn't say a lot of times I'm just downright running on fumes. But the ideal day in the life schedule for me, I'm waking up at 6. I'm on a treadmill by 6:30. 30 minutes of cardio, getting a mile 1.5 in. I'm eating breakfast at home, light breakfast, make the smoothie. I'm out the door by 7:30. I get to work, not 8:45, 9. At work from 9 to 5. The middle of the day, lunch hour. There is no lunch hour. I'm literally working on schoolwork, or in the past, I used to TA during my lunch hour. And then 5 o'clock, I would leave work like right at 5 o'clock, commute to class, get to class literally at 5:45, 5:50. If assuming that the train wasn't late, assuming I didn't get held up in court. If I'm lucky, run, buy something really quick to eat because I usually didn't have lunch but maybe had a light smoothie. And then I'm in class from 6:15 to 9:45 p.m. Typically 2 classes. First class is from 6:15 to 8:15, and then the second class is literally 8:15 to 9:45 p.m. And depending on what I had going on, extracurricular wise, I would end up staying on campus anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour late, just going over miscellaneous extracurricular activities. So I'm leaving campus around 11 o'clock, and I'm walking in the door like 12 a.m. Walking in the door at 12 a.m. My poor animals are deprived, malnourished. Feed them, settle in for bed, and eat something, and then go to sleep around 1 o'clock. Yeah, 1 o'clock is like my bedtime. Go to sleep at 1, get a few hours. If I'm not, but honestly, I mean, I can be up to 3 o'clock if I'm studying or doing assignments. And so if I'm lucky, I go to sleep right at 1. If I'm unlucky, 3, and then I'm right back up. So that's Monday through Friday. On Fridays, CUNY Law, City University of New York, we don't have classes on Fridays, which is great. Even the students don't have classes on Fridays, so we do get a little bit of reprieve there. But in the past, Fridays, I usually stay late working at the office because I'm catching up on loose ends, paperwork, reporting, yada, yada, yada. Or Friday is probably my flex day to go to a function, hang out with friends, catch up with people, do house chores, clean, do laundry, blah, blah, blah. I try to do everything Friday night so I can actually have Saturday. But what's happening on Saturday, when I was a first and second year, the professors would have some kind of skills class on Saturday mornings. Yes, I had that on Saturday mornings. And for a while, I also TA'd on Saturday mornings. So it was a sprint. And so whenever I got done with that stuff, usually around 1 o'clock, then I had the rest of the Saturday afternoon to run errands and to study and get assignments done. And then Sunday, if I'm lucky, make it to church. The actuality of being a law student, I can't make it every Sunday. I used to make it faithfully every Sunday, but try to make it once a month for First Sunday, take communion. But otherwise, Sunday morning, I'm usually sleeping in. By sleeping in, I mean sleeping till 9, and then wake up, and then it's getting all those assignments done, like nonstop, all the assignments done. And yeah, that is a day in a life, and doing it all over again. So would not recommend. Definitely be a full-time student. Do not work unless you can help it, or if you do your T-chart and it's worth it, because if it works for you, then it works for you, but it needs to really, really be worth it to do it. Okay. Let's see what we have. Okay, question number 4. What do you wish you had known before starting law school? Ooh, that's a good question. Give me 2 seconds. Let me check on my food that's cooking in the kitchen, and then I'll be right back to answer number 4. Okay, so what do I wish I had known before starting law school? I feel like I can make a whole separate video just answering this question, and maybe I should, but I will say that coming from someone who has always worked full-time while I was in school, I've always seen my professional identity as an extension of just my normal self. I wish I could have anticipated how truly difficult law school was going to be. And when I say difficult, I don't even mean necessarily intellectually difficult, even though it is. I would say the time management aspect of it, and really overestimating the amount of energy I was going to have after after performing a discretionary job, meaning I'm using my brain, and then going to school all evening and likewise using my brain. And even though I love the decision that I made, it worked out great for me. Ultimately, I would have been at legal aid the entire time and working in the court alongside amazing attorneys and judges the whole time that I was in school, and my it added to my general being and who I'm meant to be, but at the expense of over budgeting my energy all the time. And if I could do it all over again, I would say focus on being present, being in the moment. For someone who's super ultra ambitious like myself, I didn't realize it until law school that I always have one foot in and one foot out the door elsewhere. That I'm right here, but my mind and my actions are already preparing for the next big thing. And a piece of advice that I would give myself if I could do it all over again, that your next big thing was now. Your next big thing was now. And I was so preoccupied with preparing for a grandiose legal profession immediately following law school that I forgot to just enjoy being a law student. And so I did a lot of amazing things as a law student. I have no regrets. I ran for student government successfully. I served on the Black Law Student Association, the executive board. I served on CUNY Law Review as a staff editor and on the editorial board. I was a mentee to an amazing judge. I participated in the appellate project. I could go on and on and on. I was on the advisory committee for my assemblywoman. I really could go on and on and on. I was guest speaking at my alma mater at Columbia School of Social Work, but my ability to really be present in the moment and appreciate all the joys of being a student was seriously compromised. So law school taught me to really be present in the moment. Don't just always assume that you're going to have an opportunity to go back, because sometimes you only get one bite at the apple. So I wish I'd had known that before I started law school. Okay, so moving right along. What are the professors and teaching styles like? Okay, prospective students want to understand how Socratic method, cold calling, and lectures differ from undergrad. Interessante. I feel like that's a whole tangent video. Yeah. I'm not going to answer that. That's really a whole nother video. Let me give you this summary version. I would say that no professor and no class is a monolith, right? So in order for me to effectively answer this question, I would have to give a rate my professor review on every class I've had in law school, and I'm not going to do that. I will say that Socratic method was very scary for me. It still is scary. You have teachers who just will talk the entire time with no notes, no visual aids. Then you have professors who will just literally bombard you with all their notes and expect you to know everything from what they've given you, which is kind of fair. And then you have professors who will give you quizzes versus you have professors that'll be like, listen, the final is 60-75% of your grade, have at it. So it all just depends. Also, too, it depends on your learning style, and it depends on your test taking style. So to each his own. But that bar exam is a written exam. So likewise, a lot of professors, they try to prepare you for that both level of critical thinking and legal writing. So yeah. Okay. How important is networking, and how do you do it? Interesting. So I'm going to do a separate video on this because we would be here all night. But I will say the law field is very much relationship based, and it's 100% who you know, not what you know. And so you want to take advantage of as many opportunities as you can, but those that you genuinely enjoy. Because if you're doing things you don't like, it's going to feel like work, and it's going to reflect in the quality of the work that you give out. And you don't want to stifle your opportunities or unintentionally sabotage a working relationship because you didn't enjoy the nature of the job or the internship that you were doing. But we're gonna cover that in another video. Why did you choose this law school, and would you choose it again? Interesting. So I chose CUNY Law, and I chose CUNY Law for a number of reasons. Ultimately, for me, give me 1 second. Okay, thank you for that. So yes, so City University, New York Law School. I chose CUNY Law for a number of reasons, and I'm gonna give you all my reasons. So the number one reason why I chose CUNY Law was it is the number one public interest school for number one public interest law school. And by that, I mean CUNY's entire curriculum, culture, indoctrination is designed with public first. And I consider myself very much a public servant. I've always known going into law school that one of the things I've always known going into law school that I was a prison abolitionist, and I went to social work school first so I can have a therapeutic policy framework for my prison abolitionist ideas. And so CUNY Law, in theory, well, I guess in practice too, I believe that it was going to be a really safe haven for my radical ideas. And I was more concerned about my ability to form relationships with professors. And as someone who graduated from University of Buffalo's Honors College, a PWI, and then getting my master's from Columbia Ivy League, I have not always had the benefit of being surrounded by professors that truly embrace my demographics as a Black woman. And so I really wanted to make sure that I could work alongside professors who would see the totality of me, not just as a token. And so that was really important to me, that I wanted to be eye to eye with my professors and build relationships that were going to last a lifetime. And then the second reason why I chose CUNY Law was my job that I'm at now provides tuition reimbursement at the full CUNY rate. So that was a selling point for me. Also, a lot of my attorney colleagues that work at legal aid, they either taught at CUNY Law or they have some affiliation with CUNY Law. For a very long time, legal aid did all of its trainings at the CUNY Law campus. So it was a positive association and camaraderie that I was like, okay, the public defender's office is really connected with CUNY Law, and CUNY Law supports their endeavors, and I really like that. When I was doing my homework, CUNY Law had this really cool Citizenship Now, where they provide free immigration services to free immigration and citizenship to undocumented persons. And even though my specialty isn't in immigration law, I just thought that was really cool that there is this law school that is directly supporting and helping out the community, especially the New York City community that has a large population of Afro Latinos. So I was like, yeah, I'm with that. I'm about that life. And my next reason for attending CUNY Law was the price tag. That when you do a cost for cost, pound for pound analysis, the quality of the education that you're going to get for the price tag is just truly economical. And as a lawyer economist, I'm frugal, but I'm not cheap. I also have a bit of student loans that I picked up at Columbia, so I really was trying to keep my student loan burden as low as possible. So that was a good selling point for me. And when I was applying to law school, which was right before the pandemic, CUNY Law had a free childcare, like a free childcare program that they advertised in their brochure. And when I started law school, I knew that I wanted to be a mom. I was hoping that I could, not hoping, but you never know how life goes. I'm like, okay, I was at the place where I was ready to get married and be a mom. So I'm like, if life happens, then I can be at a law school that's gonna accommodate me being a new mother. And so it was really a contingency plan for me, and me planning out my pregnancy in advance. But CUNY Law has discontinued their child care program, so it's not even in existence anymore. So it looks like I'll just have to wait to graduate before I can have children. Okay, give me 1 second. The timer's going off on my food. I am cooking chili beans. 1 second. Okay, yes, my next reason for choosing CUNY Law, the location. So once I graduated from Columbia, and once I brought my place, brought an apartment in the city, I knew at that point I didn't want to leave. I mean, the only other place that I would have really considered would have been a Boston school. And I don't know, like by the time I did the math, I was like, it just doesn't make economical sense to leave the city. Like I have full benefits, I have a salary, I have my home. Like, why am I going to go to another city and pay rent and pay a mortgage here? It just didn't make any sense. So it was a New York City location. And then by the time I narrowed it down, the only other schools that I would have wanted to go to in New York City, Columbia Law rejected me. Fordham, I didn't apply to Fordham. I just really liked what CUNY offered. They sold me a script, I brought it, and I drank the Kool-Aid. I don't have any regrets. When I think about the network I have, or the friends I've made, or the fact that CUNY Law, their curriculum is designed from a legal critical race theory lens, which is controversial depending on where you are in the United States. But for me, being an African American woman in law school and being able to learn the law from a non-white supremacist lens, I don't know where else in the country you're going to get that. I mean, anywhere else you go, you can cherry pick professors that are gonna put you on game. But I can't say that I had a single class that failed me. Every single professor for every single class was giving it up and standing on business. And so I'm really thankful for the indoctrination and for the lens that I have, and that myself as a Black woman attorney, I don't have to navigate my own, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't have to unlearn or battle 3 years of oppressive, polluted teachings. You know, like I can hit the ground running, fully liberated, fully supported, and the beauty of my diversity and what I add to the field. And coming out of Columbia, I mean, I love the crown, kiss the crown, but coming out of Columbia, that was one of the things that really concerned me, you know, because in a lot of ways, you can soar as high as your wings will let you. And if your wings are continually clipped by microaggressions, or from lack of support, or really obstacles disguised as support, that can be really crippling. And I didn't want to be crippled. I wanted to be able to fly. I wanted to be able to be the greatest attorney that I can be. And so, for all aforementioned reasons, CUNY Law was the best for me. So, that's why I chose CUNY Law. Yeah. I have a lot of reasons for choosing CUNY Law, but those are definitely my top reasons for choosing CUNY Law. Okay. I think there was one more question. So that was the last question. Yeah, that's the last question. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. I will add one more question. What my last question that I would ask myself, so you guys can get the answer, is what is my favorite memory or thing about law school? And I would definitely say, aside from everything, this is gonna like come off as really nerdy, but I had the pleasure of being in law school when Trump was reelected as president. And so in real time, you're watching the news. The news is pacing at a 30-second news cycle, and then you go to class and the professors are real time modifying the syllabus so that you can have a full comprehension about what's happening on the news and how that applies to the law that we're learning. And I just found that to be so thrilling and so exciting for me. And I enjoyed my classes. I enjoyed learning the law. I enjoyed contract law. It was my favorite class ever. I enjoyed my constitutional law class, and I enjoyed property. I just honestly, I enjoy all my classes. I just love being a student. I just love learning. Um, I love networking. I loved meeting, or love because it's current tense. I love hanging out with attorneys during the day in the courts, hanging out, meaning working, we're working together, and then going to school at night and doing the same thing. And yeah, I just love my experience. I have no complaints. 11 out of 10. 11 out of 10. I rank my law school experience. Plus one. 10 plus one. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for stepping in. If you like this video, please subscribe, like, and share it. I'm trying to get the viewers up so that way I can monetize and this content can help more people. So if you know an aspiring law student or a social worker, send them my way so they can listen to my content. Bye.